And we are live.
Awesome.
Hello, hi everyone. This is me, Pooja from After Office Hours, joined by Abhimanyu here, and super excited to host this one. We have some exciting, we have exciting lineup ahead. I'm really
Yes,
excited
we
about the
do.
things we're going to talk about today. But just let's just start with our introductions. So I am Pooja. I am a designer. I'm the founder of AWH After Office Hours. AWH is a design community for all folks in design, and we do a bunch of workshops, live streams, offline events, online events. So keep following us on all this like different channels to see what's going on. Abhimanyu, over to you.
All right. Hi, everyone. Good to see all of you here. Well, I'm not actually seeing you, but good to be here with all of you on Sunday afternoon, running on multiple cups of cold brew. Abhimanyu here. I've been associated with AOH for a very long time now. It's been a fun time. I've done a couple of speaking gigs as well with them, and now I'm happy to be on the other side hosting an event and talking to some exciting guests that have been lined up for today and in the future. Yeah, I think there's a lot to dig into in this session, so looking forward to that.
Yeah, so
Let's
shall
bring
we
bring him
bring
on.
our yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Um, Super excited to have the full team here today. We have Vikas, we have Abhishek, we have Nishant from the Fold team. And you have seen them before on AOH. Fold has been associated with AOH for a slightly longer time. So super excited to have them here on the live stream. Why don't we do this one thing? Why don't we go like one by one and do a round of introductions?
Yeah,
Nishant,
starting
we'll
Yes.
off
start
with
with you.
Nishant. Yes.
Let's go alphabetically. Let's go with Abhishek.
Oh, perfect.
It's always happened in school as well. Hi guys, I'm Abhishek. I'm an iOS engineer here at Fold, and I've been with the team since the get-go, essentially building the app from scratch, helping implement new features, occasionally helping Nishant out with design as well. Before I was an iOS engineer, I used to work at DevFolio, which is another startup in the same umbrella of company that has Fold and DevFolio. I used to work as a front end lead there. So yeah, I'm happy to be here.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah. So I'm Nishant. We've been. I'm mostly a designer by profession. Uh, I've been part of two companies so far. From building from scratch. The first company we started was DevFolio, and which is a hackathon platform which has grown into doing big events like ETH India and partnering with Coinbase for certain hackathons, and then Blocktrain is happening next weekend, which is a train that is going from Bangalore to Delhi to with the hackers who are going to join the ETH Global Delhi Hackathon. So all of the exciting stuff happening there. We started building Fold around 2020 with an idea about a neobank, and I think in this conversation we'll learn more about it, how things develop. But yeah, I've been doing that. I know Abhishek from 2018. We met at a hackathon. Abhishek was a hacker. I know Vikas sir from college. We were in the same college, and I think we go back to 2013 or 14 or something. So been building a bunch of stuff, with other friends, web dev labs and GDG clubs, etc. So yeah.
And
Yeah.
Vikas.
Hi everyone, I am Vikas and I am currently working as head of engineering at Fold. But I have known all the folks at Fold before that, as Nishant mentioned. Before Fold, I was working at HackerRank for 4 years, and before that, I was in college with Nishant, Akash, and everyone else who built the first version of 2586 Labs and Portfolio. So yeah, excited to be here and talk about Fold, and we'll go in details about how things unfold.
Ah, amazing. Someone had to put that in there, huh? Let's see how things unfold. Love it. Should we just kick off with that first question, which I think for anyone in the audience who does not know Fold, which might be very few people, do you want to just give a brief? What's Fold? What is its purpose? What is it doing in this world?
Well, Fold exists to make financial life simpler. And however we can, be it through visibility, be it through ease of or making someone feel powerful or capable enough to handling their finances. We are building tools. We see ourselves as tool makers, and I think any tool that has come to existence in the world has made life simpler. So that's what we're doing. We are making financial lives simpler, easy, something that you don't have to really stress about.
Awesome. Awesome. Thank you. Pooja,
Yeah,
go ahead.
with Fold, right? I've seen the website and all, and I think I love the copy there. Like be uh, what do you call it? Like painfully aware, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Painfully aware. I love that copy. How to the point it is. But what led you to Fold? Because Def Folio, I know the background before Fold. Like, Def Folio was an entirely different product, and
Yeah.
you've done a bunch of things. But what made you folks come to like fintech and then build a product like this?
Yeah, so with Devfolio, I think we had amazing success with reaching, in the hackers and builders in every corner of India. We started Devfolio. Precursor to Devfolio was In-Out Hackathon, right, which we were doing in college, which all of us, I think, were a part of. We did 3 editions in college, and then we did the 4th edition of In-Out Hackathon in Bangalore, in which Abhishek was a participant, and that's where we actually met. Um, I don't remember if it's the 4th or the 5th. I think Vikas sir can help me with some
It was the fourth.
jogging the memory.
Yeah,
It was the
fourth
fourth
one.
one. Yeah. So we reached out. What happened is it sort of became Devfolio is a very well-known product for a certain type of people who are into coding, who are into building. And we reached a point where, we have touched almost all of the market that exists there. People in big colleges like IIT, BITS, and every other college, people started using Devfolio as a hackathon platform. We wanted to impact a larger audience with our, I really believe in the capability of our team, and how all our skills come together to create something really really good. And so this finance seemed like a really great area where we can use our skills and have a larger impact, build a product that can touch more lives. And around that time, account aggregator was also coming, so everything pretty much aligned, and we met a couple of people who are working on the account aggregator technology. Previously they had worked on the UPI technology, so, everything came together at a very right time for us to, try and explore this.
Yeah, and I
Awesome.
think this was also around the time when COVID happened.
Yeah, yeah, correct.
Does that
Mm.
has anything to do with all of this? Because I think around that time, people were experimenting with a lot of stuff, and also,
Yeah.
yeah. So what's your story around that?
Yeah, so around COVID, we started doing this in 2020, early 2020. Um, we started building this because we wanted to impact lot more people, through the fintech space. One thing that was very prominent at the time was neobanks. So basically, Fi and Jupiter and all launching, and we also launched, I think, the first website which Abhishek coded, and we made live with an invite list. We also had a Twitter handle, which was Fold Bank. So we thought that neobank could be a great way to have a wedge into the larger audience that we want to impact. But then COVID happened, and for government also certain priorities changed. They started focusing on the health stack more, and the account aggregator thing that we came to know about later was sort of shelved for a little bit. The thing with neobank, we realized that you needed a lot of capital to be able to partner with banks and then sort of build it. And then we got to know about account aggregator, and we thought, this would be a great technology to use without having to partner with banks and do the heavy lifting. But because of COVID, that got shelved. So our plans got a little delayed. That's what happened.
You're using a very light word saying heavy lifting, partnering with banks. I'm sure
Yeah,
that would have been a mammoth task.
it
But what
was. It
is
was. Yeah.
what? So this account aggregator thing that the government has introduced, how has it matured? Like, where is it now, and how has it been helping you do the things you're doing?
Um, yeah, so when we started the day zero of building Fold, right, we started with console and the postman entering our phone number, and sort of even then the data wasn't coming. It was very hard, right? So I'll just say what I know, but I think Vikas sir and Abhishek could give more, insight into engineering. So for me, from an outsider who has not engineered this, who has not been in, the waters, I would say that it has progressed a lot, coming from absolutely nothing to being able to see your data so effortlessly. But there's still a lot more to go, a lot of room for improvements. And I think from engineering wise, I think, my friends can pitch in.
Yeah, would love to hear from both of you, Vikas, Abhishek.
Yeah. So as Nishan said, from day zero, it was not much. Like it was basically a concept where, and in the beginning also banks were like reluctant to come on board. Like why we need to build the
I'm sure.
infra for this? Like what are we getting out of it?
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
then RBI pushed like they did for UPI that it is a good thing and we don't want users to sharing their statement PDF and Excel file with other people. So we need to have this consent based system. So RBI did push a little. There is also a committee of different people involved from fold like FIUs and the banks like financial info provider who come together and come to table and discuss okay, how can we move forward. So initially, yeah, as Nishan said, it was like not great to be honest. But now,
Mhm.
like almost all banks are performing very well. Like mainly HDFCs, like they work
Yeah.
superbly, and
Hmm.
some banks have been reluctant because bank directly don't build this infrastructure, so they work with the TSP, technical service provider. So they have to build
Oh,
infra to support A, and that TSP doesn't also work directly with A. They have to share data with the aggregator, account aggregator, who are licensed with RBI to get data,
wow.
and those are aggregator pass data to us. So there are a lot of layers in between where things can go wrong, and then you have to talk among everyone and find out where things are not working properly and fix them. A simple thing as time format not being correct from UTC to IST can
Hmm.
cause issue out what user sees in the app. So yeah,
Yeah.
but with time, lot of things have progressed, and I think everyone involved is quite motivated to fix things and move ahead with this, including banks. Like they are also yeah, okay, let's
Nice.
maybe not everything at once, but let's do step by step and fix all things.
Did you have to work with anyone from RBI, by the way, as part of your journey? Did you have to get someone high up there involved
No, I think
to
we
work
don't
on
have to
something?
do it directly
Yeah.
because the A team, which works with RBI, which RBI
Hmm.
mandated, okay, your responsibility, Sahamati it is called, that you have
Oh,
to make A available to everyone and get every bank on board. So they are
amazing.
quite close with them, and we work with Sahamati closely
Yeah,
to
correct.
get
So every
everything
time you
work
try
together.
to connect your bank account on Fold and it does not work,
Right.
we have built mechanisms in the app so that we know when a certain bank is failing. And to a
Uh,
certain extent, we also know why it is failing. And so in the backend, Arpit or someone from the team would be able to look at those logs, parse those failures, and maybe file a report
right.
to Sahmati asking, and then Sahmati will be further coordinating with banks to get that issue resolved.
Yeah. And I remember you guys were very gracefully handling like banks when they were not connecting, just informing users that, hey, look, wait, it's not really completely our fault. We are trying to
Yeah.
get it there.
Mhm. Yeah. 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 So transparency. So when we realize that this technology is very young and it's going to take some time, so we need users on our side. We don't need them to be against us, as in, hey, this is not working or
Yeah.
whatever. But yeah, so we have always been very transparent with any sort of error messages or whatever happens, even the support requests we get. And with very, I mean, being honest has a very high conversion rate where people very easily understand. And many people, when I've informed a certain bank that, hey, it doesn't look like it'll ever be fixed or it will take a very long time, they are very happily like, hey, I will just switch accounts. And they've created new bank accounts for something that works. Yeah.
Nice. Nice. So you're literally influencing where people are opening accounts now.
Yeah,
That's
I think
interesting.
A as whole is influencing. So
Nice.
FinView is the A partner we work with, and
Okay.
they have this recent event where they are no A, no trust. I mean, if you can't get your data, why would you
Yeah.
trust a bank, right? So this is a good push where people are in more control of their data. People know who have access to their data. Earlier, you would just print your bank statements and give it to the bank, and you don't know what they're doing with it, right? In many cases, also, if you go to apply for a loan application, the banks would ask for your username and password, which is right just to access your data, which was very bad, and you don't know who that gets sold to. So a consent-based system is great. Yeah.
Awesome.
In your product, right? So when it was launched, I remember it was like welcomed quite positively. People were really excited about a product like this, uh, because I think people really, in India especially, I'm not sure about how it is. Is there if there is a common pattern across, but like people are very extremely sensitive about money. You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
uh,
Yeah.
do you see what kind of target group, like when it launched, do you see a particular target group using this product more than others? Like I see Gen Z being very vocal about money, and they discuss about money
Yeah.
more often. So do you see that in your product as well?
Like when we launched, or like right now as it's.
I mean, yeah, I want to see like if there is a the trend that you saw like initially the adoption, and then what is it like right now?
Yeah. So with any product, when you launch, you have enthusiasts who first try it out. And when we launched, the technology was still young, a lot of issues happening. The app wasn't complete, but this needed to go live in order to start testing, like which banks are working and start pushing them. So we put it behind a invite code wall, right?
Mm.
And so we were very deliberate of who we share the invite codes with and who we can onboard. And in there, of course, since it was majorly Twitter, the population that was joining early was skewed towards tech Twitter and enthusiasts or fintech who are open to trying new things, right? And there wasn't any specific demographic that was there. We had, even people who are working in banks who were 50, 55, or, young couples, and even people in college trying that. Right now, we are mostly, people age range from 18 to 35. That makes the majority of the audience from Fold as of now. Like that's how we've changed as we've opened to the public.
And how do you see like is people's relationship with money? Like is there something like are there insights that you usually uncover via the product? Like how are people treating their money? How do they think about it?
Well, mm, we've realized, because we all of us are like users of the product,
Mm.
right? And we have real seen our own relationship with money change. I have become a lot more aware. I have become a lot more, just a feeling of being in control, right? And that's what I have felt. And I've also, like Abhimanyu was talking about changing behaviors or switching accounts, and that's something that I have done as well. Early on, I was a heavy user of a certain bank, but that didn't work well. So I switched to using a different bank that works. So that is how my relationship with money has become a lot better. From the reviews and from the feedback, that is what I have also seen, as in people are more conscious about their spendings. People, when they go to spend, some feedbacks we get is, before spending, I think that what tag will I give it, or how it will affect my, because they are always aware that this is the amount of money that I spent, right? So personally, my behavior has very much changed and very much influenced. The relationship of money with money has very much improved. But also, I'd love to hear from Abhishek and Vikas, like how
Yeah.
they have changed, because everyone has a different relationship with money.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah, essentially, I started using credit cards while we were building
Oh
Fold
yeah.
itself. I previously did not have a credit card at all, so Fold helped me learn a lot about how much we should be spending, what are some good financial habits that one should generally just be aware of. Um, so I think credit cards is a big, like just learning about the value system there is like a big win for me. And also while building credit cards, you get to know a lot of nitty gritty details, or maybe some terms and conditions that you'd probably not be aware of, or maybe the general populace isn't really aware of, like in terms of hidden charges or forex charges that you previously would just not be aware of because the bank apps probably don't show them, or you maybe just have to dig into your statement in order to just spot them. So that helped me like uncover a lot of those things. So I think credit cards is one big
Yeah.
area where I learned a lot.
Hmm. Yeah, I think though I have very personal example for this. Like I live in Kormangla and our office is in Indranagar. So when we were building Ford, I used to travel daily from auto. And as we were improving our tagging system, I got to know how much I was spending on Uber. And
Nice.
within 2 months, I got my scooter. Ki, yeah, this is enough. We have to
Yeah.
bring it down. Yeah. And
Yeah,
I think, yeah. And one more insight, like which we got from users without looking at users' data, is that
yeah,
a lot of people want to know exactly where there is money is going, because we get lot of requests. Maybe Nishant can tell you exactly how much request we get for a specific icon and tag. Like, I want to know
yeah,
specifically where my money is going. You don't
yeah,
have this icon. I want to see that this is a gift for my spouse, not a general gift.
yeah, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, they've also asked like their friend's name that put this icon under personal, right? And so
Interesting.
interestingly, yeah, we were also I think the commute happened in Ather, and I think the whole spend for 3 months was around 48 rupees or something. I remember seeing something on the Ather app that
Wow. Okay.
for the charging.
Yeah, yeah, like so. Ether
Yeah,
is actually a very cheap in terms of.
That's
yeah,
the two-wheeler that you got after seeing
Yeah,
the
yeah,
yeah, yeah.
yeah,
advertisement.
So
Amazing.
yeah,
now, like,
Amazing.
I think before that it was around 8,000 to 10,000 per month, and now
yeah,
you just get like 100 rupees per month.
Wow.
yeah,
That's really good.
yeah,
So Fold has
yeah. I mean,
already helped me. Like, now I'm just building it for everyone else.
yeah,
Yeah. And
yeah,
I
correct.
I think I have two questions. One around the privacy thing, but before I get to that, I want to understand like which do you guys have family members who are now using Fold since you guys have built it? Like, do you have parents or siblings or uncles and aunts and chacha chachis and whatnot?
Yeah,
Yeah, so
definitely. Like,
Yeah.
yeah,
yeah, like in my family, my brother uses it. He is like, he directly gives me feedback that this is not working, or I want to know this, and where would I find out this, and
yeah,
also he's like, our family members are probably our like very early beta testers,
Alpha
because
They
they
are.
yes,
testers.
That's
yeah,
directly tell
nice.
us what is going on. And
No,
yeah,
I asked because it took me a long time to convince my dad that hey, while your favorite bank is your favorite bank, their app is horrible. Just look at something else and look at how they're doing things. So that's a good test for me. Like, are my parents now using something like this and able to effectively make decisions based on it and stuff like that? That's what I was curious about.
yeah. Yeah, I mean, friends and family, like Abhishek mentioned about credit cards, right? So what happened is when we were early on building Fold, we didn't have credit cards. Because to track credit cards, you have to go through email, and we tried a lot of things
Yeah.
there, and we were finally settled on something, and we didn't want to, have the ability, give the people the ability to connect their emails because it has privacy concerns, etc. We were very much against it. Then around that time, I was visiting my friend in Hyderabad, and I told him about this, and I went grocery shopping with him, and he said like, "Hey, this is not useful for me because most of my spends are on credit cards." And I had never used credit cards to do spends, or I mean, I had it maybe for lounge or sometimes for ticket booking, but I didn't know that people on a daily basis use credit cards for like regular spendings. And I was very happy that 2 years later when he came over, I think recently last 3 months, Fold was on his home screen, and he was very happy about it and how everything is working. So we didn't talk about it; he didn't mention it. I just had a glance, and that was a very nice feeling that finally we have come this far. That a person who put the seed of an idea there is
Nice.
able to use it now. Yeah.
And did you eventually go the email route? Did you figure out an alternative? What was it that you?
Yeah. So the email is the only way to do this. So yeah, we went through it, but we both them have
Yeah.
worked heavily on it. Abhishek and Vikas have worked heavily
yeah,
on it, so they have
Right.
more insights into how they have built privacy, accessibility, etc.
Yeah.
yeah.
I mean, until aggregator comes up with like the credit card information as well, right? Because I think it's limited to banks
Well,
right now.
yeah, credit cards actually benefit from opacity. Like as long as it's opaque, they
I
benefit,
know. I know.
right?
Yeah.
So,
The whole concept
so
of interest and all
yeah.
of that. Yeah.
So
That
it's a
makes sense.
little far fetched that they'll ever come out.
But I fingers crossed that shows up. But yeah, I think since you mentioned privacy and all, I do want to touch upon that as well. I remember you guys also have, I call it the show off mode in your app, where I
Mhm.
can just hide all my stuff and have like fake data show up and then show someone, hey, look, this is really cool.
Yeah.
So that's really nice in the privacy direction. But I'm curious, like, since you've mentioned transparency is important, because you're dealing with money, privacy is equally
Mhm.
important. What are some things that you're doing both from an engineering and a design point of view that are taking care of privacy uh, through this?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So maybe I can talk about like how we worked on this credit card feature. So like any other feature, we started with like the basic premise, like let's not try to access users data unless we want to. So first thing we started with like was very basic. We'll give user a full generated email account, and users can set up forwarding, auto forwarding, and on that inbox we'll only get email that user has forwarded, and we'll only process those emails to sync users data. And that was like, I would not even call VZ1. It was like V0 among the team we were testing. And we were again like friends and family, and we realized that a lot of people are not tech savvy enough to know how auto forwarding works. They will do manual forwarding, or they will have to do a lot of steps manually. Auto forwarding you cannot set up from the mobile app, and a lot of people only use Gmail on mobile. Not everyone is desktop user, right? So we quickly, dumped that idea. Okay, people will not be able to set auto forwarding on our custom email, and they might not even trust a email address ending with fold money, right? So then we figured out, okay, what we can do. Then we were like, okay, the only thing is we have to read their email, but we have to be like, we don't want to read all their email. Like, I don't know what everyone else does, but so what we decided that we Gmail provides us this function that you can search very specific things. So we look for, let's say, if you have HDFC card, we will look for email from HDFC bank sender address and having some specific words like a transaction alert from HDFC. If those words and subject match and the sender match, so if you manually forward something, we won't track it. So we only track the actual email which comes from the bank, and we'll only look for that. So we search that. If the search result comes up, then we process those emails and sync your transactions or statements. So yeah, so we don't look for any other emails, and whatever processing happens, like we quickly discard it after some time. We keep it for a few days because sometimes user report, okay, my transaction was synced, but amount is incorrect. So we have to know what happened. So we keep data for a few days, but then we discard it. So in the end, when everything is done, there is only one thing we know, that is user's transaction detail. User spent this much amount at this place on this date from this card. This is all we know. Everything's related to email we don't keep.
Yeah.
Amazing. I love that your
Yeah.
starting point was let's not collect data we don't need. Like I love that your team is thinking with that as the
Yeah.
first step.
Yeah.
Yeah,
We're users ourselves. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, because we don't want to do things for like okay, I'm using full, right? If
Yeah.
we are doing something, I have to connect my email also, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, we
Awesome.
wanted to do as much processing on the clients as possible. We wanted to leverage like all the frameworks that they provide that we could use here, just so that we can get maybe the credit card metadata or the transaction metadata without your emails leaving your device at all. So we just wanted to make sure that we maybe rely on the Vision framework, for example, in iOS, so that we can OCR your statements, so that we can like further onboard your credit cards, or be it just processing of emails, like uh, Vikas mentioned, like gaining as much information from that email as much as possible, and not sending any other data
Yeah.
which is irrelevant to
Yeah.
Ford servers.
Yeah. With
Nice.
respect to bank accounts, we are a SEBI-regulated entity, so we have to submit audits and everything, and
Amazing.
we just cannot not be privacy focused there, because it is about the existence of our company. Anything that goes wrong, SEBI is very strict, and they'll just shut us down.
Awesome.
Yeah, actually, from here I want to talk about another thing, which is again on a similar line, which is for a product like this, trust is at the core of it, right? You
Yeah.
have to trust the product to even share your email ID and your credit card and your card information and everything. Why should like so when you enter this space, when you launch a product like this, how do you convince people? And somewhere I think design also plays
Mhm.
a role, right? How you communicate this to
Yeah.
people, how you communicate the product to the people, and how you handle failure situation, error cases,
Yeah.
all those things. So what are your thoughts on that? Like, how did you
Mhm.
folks figured this part out?
Definitely, trust is the center. Like, we are still building for trust, and will we still be building for trust in 5 years from now? And like you mentioned, Pooja, trust comes from design. Trust comes from how you approach a person, how you talk to them. So design and copy are the two things that were very important from the first day. Nothing should feel just, cobbled together. Nothing should feel like a text has just been written without any thought put into it. Nothing should just feel like you are, trying to be condescending to users or anything. So we put a very major focus on every single aspect of this, and it works. It works really works. Like if you go to Bangalore Darshini's, and you'll see outside that the spoons are kept on boiling water or something, right? Uh, to keep it clean. So when you see that in a place, you automatically assume that the kitchen would also be clean. Or there's so design and building for something like that extends to a lot of mental models that people prepare or make for their product and your company. And so design plays a big role, copy plays a big role in there. And you add a little bit of wit, you add a little bit of a laid backness, and that's it. I think then it becomes easier for people to trust. One thing that also worked for us is that all the entire team is very accessible through Twitter, email, Discord. So you know that there are faces behind this, and I can reach out to someone. So that also, I think plays a secondary role to design and the copy. One feedback that I got from my friend who recently tried Fold, that he really loved the copy, and he mentioned that the other apps that he had used or tried, the copies felt very predatory. That they're trying to get me, come on a platform, do something. And in Fold, we don't do that. In fact, when you sign up, we make it very easy to delete your account. We give an option to delete your account in the sign up screen. So you have a button which says connect your bank accounts. The next to it is, hey, if you're not comfortable right now, delete your account, come back later, right? Which had an effect on people, that people started like, it gave people an impression that I can anytime disconnect and go if I don't like this. And if you try doing that in the fintech app space, that is really difficult. You're deleting your account. You just can't. You have to reach out to support. You have to reach out to chat with people, do a bunch of stuff, and then you'll be able to, maybe they will,
Yeah,
put
yeah.
it behind a flag that this is a deactivated
Mm.
account, which I personally believe and we personally believe is not a great practice. And hopefully this changes in the future. But yeah.
That's amazing to know. I mean, I signed up long time back, so I don't even remember this,
Yeah.
but that's so good to know that that's
Yeah,
a
I
thing
think
now.
yeah. I think this was the first thing we decided, that we want people to try it out quickly. And the first, as we said, no, we were frustrated by all the things we were facing. Like, why can't we delete an account? We were like, okay,
I
first
hear
thing we
you.
do is let people delete account anytime they want.
Yeah.
There is an example, I think, one anecdote I remember, that
Yeah.
at one point it was so easy, a person deleted by mistake, and
Yeah.
he's like, "Why did you ask for any confirmation?"
Yeah.
Then
Yeah.
we,
That early on. Yeah.
Wow.
yeah, then we
Yeah.
And
built an
you,
OTP screen where, like, okay, you want to delete, no problem, we'll just send
yeah.
an OTP.
Yeah.
You enter OTP, so you don't tell us, ki, okay, you did not want me. It was
That's
that easy to
Yeah,
funny.
delete an account.
that was very early on. Someone who was like keeping a very nice, nicely managing their data, and they just tapped on delete and the account went.
Oh my
So after
God.
that, yeah, it was early beta testing. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Wow.
now we take
Wow.
a confirmation.
But
Yeah, it
that's
should be
really cool.
simple, but not so
Yeah.
simple, right? Yeah, not easy, but not too easy. Yes.
Yeah.
But while we were talking about copy, and you put quite a bit of emphasis on copy, right?
Mhm.
Yes, like what I also noticed, like Fold's copy is usually it has a bit of wit, humor element to it, but sometimes it can backfire also, and
Mhm.
especially for fintech product, it can sometimes, you're talking about something that's serious, uh,
Mhm.
and then you're trying to add a little bit of laid backness or humor to it. So how do you manage that like fine line between not going too overboard with it, because it's easy
Yeah.
to,
So I
yeah.
think we have went overboard, not really in the app copy, but maybe, someone in the team doing social media or whatever might have went overboard. But yeah, so the thing you do is you calibrate. When you go on early, you don't know, what is the threshold that you can push to. So you try different things, you push, you see that, okay, this didn't get a nice response. So sort of dial it back, you try some things again. So it's very contextual for every other service and app. It's a science of one. So it has to be figured out. It has to be calibrated. And the wit and humor is something that you cannot, engineer it, sort of that. You can only calibrate it. So I think we have reached a point of calibration where things are okay now. And, it's certain support requires certain people. We've been talking with them for so long that we don't care about the threshold. We reply to them in a way, they reply to us in a way, and it's all laughs. But in general, of course, it's all about calibration.
And you have like a dedicated team of people doing the copy for you guys? Like, is it one person, multiple people, or just
We just do it
yeah?
like we just discuss it among we are just 6 7 people right now. So just
Okay.
discuss among ourselves. We see everybody gives a green light or thumbs up or be like, okay, this is concerning, and that's what we do.
Hmm. So it really reflects like the kind of team members you have, because if you're just
Yeah,
like discussing through things and just coming up with something that's so effective,
yeah,
it almost shows us that that's how you're thinking about things. You're making sure
yeah.
you keep it light but serious, those sort of things.
Yes, yeah,
Very
yeah.
cool.
Okay.
I think yeah, Nishant usually just puts something. Ki, okay, we are planning to add something. How do you guys feel about it? And then
Yeah,
maybe someone Abhishek will say, yeah, looks good, and then maybe someone will come, yeah, this is maybe not, right.
yeah,
Maybe we can tone it down, or maybe we can.
yeah,
It is not more. We have to make it more clear for users because they will come back again. So then
yeah,
Nishant will put extra
yeah,
flame
yeah,
on it.
yeah.
Ki, okay, yeah, let's make
Very,
it more clear.
yeah. For example, the mutual funds, there is where, so what happens when you connect your mutual funds? You can refresh it once in 15 days if you have made like a sold or purchased, but we update your net asset values. This is going to be a little jargonish, but we update your net asset values every night, right? So that was a very difficult thing, and we did so many iterations on that copy. It's to like to the layman so that it makes sense and it makes sense to the technical people both. So the things like that happen. Yeah,
I think buttons are extremely hard, button labels, because you've got so limited with
yeah,
right on the devices.
exactly. Yeah, and we try to be verbose. We try to be very verbose. Like we don't say delete and cancel, or we never use the word cancel in our action sheets. We are always like stay on this screen or hang on, never mind. We use things like that because many a times you get two buttons, delete and cancel, and you're not sure pressing which will do
Yeah.
what. Yeah,
Cancel
so
account.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's what. So we don't use cancel in our action sheets. Always
Yeah.
it's accompanied by a yes or a no before the text, and then yeah.
Very
Are there
cool.
other like guidelines like this maybe that you guys have defined already that works for
We
fold?
try to be verbose in our error messages, verbose as much as possible, but we keep it, a certain word limit. So that is something, and always be transparent. If there's a button that can cause, change in people's data, explain it below the button. So we always do that. We always like it for recurring. If you are pausing or canceling, we say that what is going to happen, what will happen when you turn this toggle on, etc. So because what started happening right now is that if you show tutorials or videos early on, people don't take time to read that. People just don't read. Like the first rule of writing copy should be people don't read. So you have to write it at many places and sort of push it in between a workflow, etc. So that's what we do.
I think for
That's very
writing
cool.
copies, we also do this thing where we have to convey certain technical terms which we use internally to users,
Mhm.
but we also can't keep it as technical as we use it. But
Yeah.
we also can't do it hand where we are using just some random words. So sometimes we have spent a lot of time to just come up with a word which is technical enough, but not very just engineering level technical, just to convey some error message to a user. Ki, okay, what happened here?
And in design, we also have this specific component called the tutorial sheet or the explanation sheet. So
Hmm.
anything that is technical, like what is a DMAT account or what is something else. So we show an explainer sheet explaining that. And you will see that the question mark morphing to the Ford logo there. So that is something that we use at a lot of places.
Maybe you should just have that as like a dedicated flashcard section for anyone who's
Mhm.
trying to learn finance. Because you
Yeah.
said, what is a demat account? And I'm thinking, what is a demat
Mhm.
account?
Yeah. So that's what like in many fintech apps there will be a lot of jargons, and we know
Yeah.
that the kind of app we are building because recently I met with three boys from Crash College, and they were doing some project and taking some interviews. And I
Hmm.
called them over to my office, and they're very young, and they
Yeah.
have started investing. They have started managing their accounts, and they're using Fold. So we
Yeah.
understood that we will reach people who are young, and we have to be very patient with them. We have to be very, not jargony with them.
That's
Help
so
them
cool.
on board so that they don't, once you get scared of money, then your children will be scared of money, and their children will be scared of money. You don't want to do that to a younger generation.
Completely
And I think
agreed. Yeah.
And that for flashcard thing, I think Nishan said it better. Like you can have tutorials, you can have full learning platform
Yeah.
just to understand
Yeah.
everything, but
Yeah.
people won't go through that, or
That's
maybe they
true.
will go through that and they won't remember all of it.
Yeah.
They
Yeah. You
need
go through it in
information
the
in the context.
context.
Yeah,
Yeah.
You
when
don't
you
In
are
the
know
right
reading
exactly.
context.
something an amount, and it amount looks good, you need to know where it coming from and what it does it mean. And I think putting
That
an
makes
information
sense.
right there makes sense for us, so user can quickly look up okay what they are looking
Yeah.
at in the screen.
Yeah.
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 That just makes me think I want like a Fold Money account for my kid now as he grows up. I'm like,
Yeah.
here you go. While
I
you're in
would.
school, figure out finances.
Maybe we can have Fold Money Light, for
Maybe it
kids.
could just be called pocket money.
Pocket money.
I
Ah.
think that's already taken by quick. Yeah, yeah. Villa way, we are also trying to do something. Yeah. I was working with an NGO,
Nice.
so they have these. How do you teach kids about money and
Yeah.
stuff? There's a
Yeah.
lot there, and every single person thinks differently about money. Every single age group thinks very differently about money. It's
Of
a very
course.
nuanced space, and very exciting to be here.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. I quickly want to touch upon this. So you said there's about 6 to 7 team members. I can see three of you right here. Like, what is the size of the full team? What kind of roles do you have? What's happening
Yeah.
there? Yeah.
Yeah, so I think Abhishek and Sabesh are iOS engineers, and I think they pulled off the liquid glass update yesterday, which was
I was going
awesome.
to ask about that. In
Yeah,
when you mentioned transparency, I was like, should I bring it
yes,
in?
yes. So yeah, so we
Okay.
have two people in the iOS team. We have one
Nice.
person in the Android team. We have Akash, Utkarsh, me, Vikas is there. So how much that, and Arpit is there in legal. So I think that's like what, 7 people,
Yeah.
60, six,
Yeah,
seven
it's not
people.
even reached double digits yet. Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
7 people. Yeah,
Okay.
those are various. So we've got
Wow.
Android, we've got iOS, we've got backend. Oh, Pratik, we forgot Pratik. Pratik is there. Pratik has been working with us also since
Okay.
2018. Yes, amazing
Wow.
engineer and just a cracked engineer.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's 7 to 8 people. Yeah.
Yeah. Pratik's going to watch this live stream and be like,
So I think
I think
Pratik
he
is
might
off
have dropped
playing
after
a
this.
game.
Okay, they did not mention me. I'm
Yeah,
going.
yeah,
Yeah.
precisely.
Yeah.
Okay, so you're doing native apps for both iOS
Yes.
and Android.
Yes.
That was a conscious decision you guys made in the
Yes.
beginning.
Yes. Yes. Correct.
What
Yeah,
was the thought behind that? I'd love to
well,
hear that as well.
we just like building software. We didn't want to build something subpar on a
That's compromised in
cross
both
platform thing.
places.
Yeah, and
Hmm.
because of this, like we work with the closely with the Apple team, with the Android team, and so we got an Android Best of the Year award last year.
Ooh,
So
nice,
we get to explore both the powers of both the platforms. We don't have to
amazing.
compromise on one because of the another. And there
Yeah,
are enough, great iOS devs and great Android devs out there to build really great
amazing.
products on both, right? One of my friends recently tried Fold on his Android app, Android phone, and his first feedback was that it feels like I'm using an iPhone. So because
Wow.
because we have used native technologies, and I
Yeah,
think we recently yesterday got a review too that it feels like I'm using iOS. Yeah.
very
So
nice,
yeah,
very
so
nice.
we want to do that because we just like building good software, and we just found that using cross-platform technologies maybe will not be able to do that, and maybe
Okay.
this could also be a differentiator early on. So yeah,
Absolutely.
um,
I do have one more question, Pooja, before I hand it back to you for another.
yeah,
Since we've spoken about liquid glass, I'm just curious. And I know Android just did their what is it, Material
material
Expressive
expressive view.
thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
What was like? Did you learn something interesting in these updates as you were implementing these new things, or was it just a pretty simple? Since you were building native anyway, I'm assuming you were using some native elements from those operating
Yeah,
systems, and it made it easier. What
yeah.
was
I
that
think
like?
I think
Yeah.
Abhishek can talk about iOS.
Yeah.
Uh, I think being native first also gives you the advantage that whatever gets released on day zero in the developer betas, you have it instantly and you can play with it without having to wait for maybe third parties to implement it or create bridge
Mm-hmm.
layers between it. So we were um able to use Liquid Glass and all the frameworks, and we were able to test those out very early on. Implementation wise, I think we started working on it maybe a couple or maybe 3 weeks ago.
Oh,
Uh,
okay.
and since
Wow.
we use a lot of native elements already, we do get
Yeah.
liquid glass effect applied to it by default. So
Nice.
Apple, for example, all the control buttons, all the inputs, and all your toggle buttons, they
Right.
automatically get that liquid glass treatment. But there are still some custom elements that we use in the app. For example, tab bar that we
Yeah.
do create liquid glass versions for.
Nice.
So we did have to do some work there so that we are actually liquid glass ready, making sure that we are like adhering to the Apple's guidelines with respect to building out maybe the tab bars or maybe some
Yeah,
of the
right, right,
features
right.
which needed the liquid glass treatment.
That's interesting. But and from a visual design perspective, like, do you see, because these platforms have become quite different in terms of how they're
Mhm.
approaching their visual look and
Yeah.
feel, are you having to take decisions now separately for iOS and Android from a visual design point of view?
Well, yes, I mean, it's a very recent problem since before this, we were using the
Yeah.
same design on Android and iOS. And now what has happened is that iOS has went on a very different direction,
Yeah.
which will be very hard for, the Android OEMs to copy. And so there won't be much similarity going forward now.
Maybe that
Liquid
was the
Glass,
secret thing behind
yeah.
them, right? Just going there so
Yeah,
no one can
yes,
copy us.
yes. Go
Interesting.
so hard that just no one can reach with shaders and all. So
Yeah.
yeah, we have started to diverge, and that is the question that I'm struggling with right now. Like, how do we keep these consistent? Because on iOS, you've got different kinds of buttons. The corner radii are much more prominent. The
Right.
tab bars work differently. Right now, how we are working with this, I work very closely with the iOS team, and I like verbally or or in written terms communicate that, hey, make this like this, make. But in Figma, it is still in a very
Right.
Android and the older design mode. And going forward, I think that we will need to create a liquid glass version, uh, and without impacting how Android devs would pick it up.
Right.
So something that's accessible. Maybe there is a way, maybe, component variant, something. I haven't figured it out yet,
I
but it
know. I
seems
think
like
we're all
a
in that
big
boat
problem.
right now.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
That's
Well,
amazing.
Nishant, in past, I
Yes.
think we have allowed Android devs to, use whatever Android guidelines say, right? Then
Yeah,
not
yeah,
make it
yeah.
exactly at iOS.
Yes,
So
yes,
that,
yes.
yeah, so
Around
we
that.
have allowed that, like, we don't have to have the same app
Right.
in
Of
both
Mm.
course.
platform,
Of
but
course.
like follow the guideline. Whatever is the best for
Yeah.
Android, we can follow that.
Yeah, we do that. Yeah. It's just that the communication becomes because everything is designed with iOS in mind. And
Hmm.
then,
Hmm.
like, there is no native sheet support in Android, like sheets
Right.
popping up. So they sometimes misbehave. So we choose to go with a full screen presentation. So whatever the Android guidelines say that, do this, we do that. But the
Nice.
first version is made like how it is in Figma, which is close to iOS. But in Android also, like we are working with a great Android dev right now, and he has taken care of how to. There's so many workarounds that go into showing sheets and
Awesome.
doing full screen presentation, showing a tab bar in a certain way. Some things work really well in Android. It's the scroll lists are prominent, more
Hmm.
performant, etc. So
Yeah, I
yeah,
wanted
Wow.
to
yeah,
add that when we were talking about building native apps, that
Yeah.
you would spend a lot of time perfecting one animation or transition on iOS maybe, and
Hmm.
then you will realize that you have to spend similar time
On
in
yeah,
Android
Android side.
now.
in Android,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. But
But yeah,
that's
I
that's
mean,
nice. I
yeah,
mean, it
that's
shows
the
the
that's the
effort you
fun of
guys are
it.
putting in.
Yeah.
It's nice. It's nice.
It's
All
fun,
right.
and
Finally, over to you,
sometimes
Pooja.
you will have that, some animation that iOS has implemented, and then Android will be like, we'll implement it too, or vice versa. So it's a nice,
Yeah.
fun
Yeah.
game there. Yeah.
That's very nice. Pooja, go on.
Yeah, no, I was like listening to all of you, and I like what struck me is each one of you is equally passionate about the product, and what you're
Yeah.
building. And that's where I think the finesse in product also comes from. I mean,
Yeah.
product is always like, a reflection of the company culture and how you think about
Mhm.
things and what kind of
Yeah.
detailing you go into.
Yeah.
How did you manage to find, because I know we've heard stories like, hey, you found maybe Abhishek like in a hackathon, and then you found Vikas in another event, but then like picking up the right people, especially when you have such a lean team, right? It's like really important, and having them stay with you for such a longer, like because you are building something
Yeah.
for long term, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like how did you made it like possible?
Well, I think because I mean, you do. I think the so one thing is there that Like I talked about calibrating the threshold of, the language you can speak. So many times what happens is that sometimes in a team we have went on a sort of a hiring spree and the team grew, and then you sort of, prune down, or sometimes you are not fit for some people, or the people are not fit for the company, and then whatever's left is basically, the end squeezed out with the people with the same sort of ideologies, the same sort of passion towards the product. So that's what happened. And in the case where we were able to find, I think I'm extremely grateful, and every one of us are, that we have been able to connect with people who are like-minded through college. I think it just comes from spending a lot of time, and whoever sticks towards the end, they always have the same sort of thinking about the product. We were very lucky to be in the hackathon space where we got to meet a lot of builders. We were very lucky to be in a college where a lot of interest was towards technology, doing Google Summer of Code, or trying out different events for the children in the college, in some sort of way. So luck plays a certain role, but then again, once you have a team and you want a certain kind of people, that will again need growing and then pruning, growing and then pruning. And maybe after 5, 6 steps of that, you have like 10 people that could form your core team.
So hypothetically, because this also came in as one of the question from people, let's say if you have to hire another designer for your team, right? How would you go about it?
So we are very, very strict on growing the design team. We have to be. So one of the first thing is that if I can do something that you can do, and I can do it in less time, then what should be the reason that I should hire, right? Because hiring someone and getting a task done is sort of, first of all, communicating the task, and then following up on the task, and then checking if it's completed, and then shipping it. So there are multiple steps involved, and since at this stage we would like to move fast, so at this stage, that is where the first question comes. Like, what are your abilities? How is it different from the existing abilities of the team? And why would that, make shipping in a time shorter? If that's all is happening, like we are very open to hiring. But if we have to, if there is a redundancy where the same task that can be done in 5 minutes or 2 days is being done by someone in 7 days, with added communication, that is something that we cannot accommodate in the team right now. So that's there.
And I think passion is also like very important, at least for design roles. Like you cannot
Mhm.
be a designer by profession. Like if you don't feel like you want to design good things, then it's gonna be very hard to come up with
Yeah,
as Nishant has come up with over the years, all the
Yeah.
small things in our apps and all. I think Nishant started as front end developer, right?
yeah. I
Yeah,
was a front
yeah,
developer. I
yeah.
turned it
So that's what like I
hacker. Yeah,
yeah. Design
Yeah.
has to come like from within, like you want to build a very good things, communicate things with your design elements, and have that kind of vision to come
yeah.
up with things, right? If you want to learn some tools and just draw some buttons, then it is gonna be very hard.
Yeah.
And also Abhishek, who also started a designer. So even if so, Abhishek has not updated his portfolio in a very long time. Okay, and if you still go and look at whatever the designs are there, they are still very much aesthetically pleasing, good,
Hmm.
right? They're timeless in that sort of way. So
Amazing.
I think yeah, that something like that, when there is in the portfolio where years might pass, but what you have in the portfolio is sort of timeless, is still not very trend following, or added gradients and purpley and 3D and all that. Yeah, so that sort of adds. Abhishek's
Yeah.
portfolio is, by the way, the Abhi.studio, which is a good uh, domain
Oh
name.
wow, wow.
Yeah.
I mean, I could have gotten that, but fine, Abhishek. But it's
Yeah.
very nice. I like saying that a designer is only as good as the engineer that you're working
Yeah.
with, right?
Yes.
You can make the best looking pictures if your engineering counterpart can't reproduce it, if you've not communicated it, it's a
Yeah.
failure, right? At the end of
Yeah.
the day. So it's
Right.
very nice
Yeah.
to know that even the people who are working on the engineering side have an eye for detail for
Yeah.
those kind of things,
Yeah.
which is
And,
amazing.
and and that being said, of course, we are always like looking for designers or engineers or anyone who wants to join the team. So we're always open for a chat in that way. Yeah.
That's
Awesome.
awesome. Yeah. But on a similar note, like how do you find a cracked engineer in like how do you filter a cracked engineer in this market? Like especially with AI, because
I
like
think the engineering team has taken a lot of interviews,
hmm,
so they will know how to crack. The only cracked engineers I know is only by spending a very, very long time with them. You know, I've met great people in my journey so far, and as you spend more time with them, you realize how great they are. Right? It doesn't come in their like outspokenness or in a sort of confidence that hey I can do this. It sort of seeps in the daily moments of working with them, of how they communicate, how they handle things, the graceful code that they write. So over time is what I've found that, and that's how like I could say that hey, you know what, I think this person is a cracked engineer. But how do you go around interviewing and finding them? I have no context in that. I think
Well,
Abhishek, yeah.
yeah, even in our interviews, like apart from just their skill set and just how good they are at coding or the technicalities and engineering, we really have a high bar about values. We really try to ascertain what they believe in, how they approach problem solving, how they approach working in a smaller team. And being in a small team environment, we know what challenges we face in a day-to-day environment, and we try to sort of also um, talk about those challenges with them very early on, so we get a sense of how their career has progressed, maybe how they have worked in smaller teams, and so that we know if they would align with us in the longer term in future if we decide to work with them.
yeah.
Very
So
cool.
assume someone who is potentially looking to apply at Fold right now is watching the live stream. Give them a BTS of what it is like as an engineer working at Fold.
Yeah, I
Um,
think I can mention
yeah,
few things.
I
Yes.
Yeah.
think the first thing
Good
should be that
opportunity.
I
Yeah,
think regardless of engineering or whichever role, I think the first thing that you should have been using it for a long time,
yeah,
and you should be very aware of the gaps that exist because we are very aware of it on a daily basis,
yeah.
painfully
Do,
aware, as
I
one
don't
would
think
don't
say.
install it during the interview, right? That's the first
Yeah,
thing.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, that's a
no,
pretty
I think
important.
even that would be fine, but don't be an Android engineer who uses iOS,
Yeah,
iPhone. I
yeah,
would not
Oh,
say,
nice,
yeah.
nice. Okay,
You
that's
to
a
be
good
passionate
one.
about
Yeah,
Android.
yeah,
yeah.
Well,
I mean,
yeah,
if you truly love the platform, you'll make
yeah.
yeah,
something that's good
yeah.
for that platform. That's
Yes,
nice.
yes,
So,
yeah,
like, it's not a requirement, but it's good to know that you actually use the Android app day to day and you understand how things works in a phone, what you look for. But I think what I would say is like you have to be little bit passionate about whatever you are working on, because I think everyone can write code. And in terms of AI, it has just getting easier to write code, but you need to be little bit more enthusiastic about ki, okay, I want to do this. I am using. When you go come to Fold, you see ki, okay, I noticed these 10 things. I want to fix those first, and then I will get back to whatever you say. uh, right? Because if you are not interested in building Fold, like you don't use Fold or you are not worried about finances, you will be just taking some tasks from us and okay, I want to do this, okay, I will do this in this time. But if you're passionate about building, you would know what needs to be done next, and where you'll take ownership. I think that's what we look for mostly,
yeah,
that we shouldn't require you to tell you what needs to be done. You should be involved and know
yeah,
what needs to be done, and
yeah.
you tell us ki, okay, this is getting done, versus we asking, is it getting done?
Yeah. And there are so many, like one instance where Sabesh, who is another iOS engineer that works with us, there are things that just won't work. Maybe, some sort of credit card support isn't there or something. He would just build it out and just tell the team that, hey, I've built this. Can we just merge this so I can, use it like how I want to? So
Love
there have
it.
been instances of that. Yes.
Yeah, like we have built a lot of features out of our all necessities. Like I think
Yeah.
that showing random data was, I think, very first feature
Yeah.
along with delete. That if you are building Fold, how do we show people what we are building?
Yeah.
I love that. I
Yeah.
have shown off that feature to people just saying that, hey, every product should have this. Because,
Yeah.
I mean, you walk into VC demos and whatnot, and you
Yes,
probably don't
correct.
want to show your bank account, right?
Yes, yeah, right, right. And the
Yeah.
good thing also that we've built in our web app too, and that also with a shortcut. So I had to present like I was presenting a phone app, but I had to present. They were like, "Hey, let's look at a web app too." And I was
Yeah.
like, "Oh, I know the shortcut." So it's Shift D, and it quickly scrambles your data. So before even the page loaded, I was like Shift D. So
Nice.
we have that
Nice.
in web app too. And web app was entirely coded by Vikas, end to
Uh,
end. There's a lot of
Amazing.
work to be done, and so we look forward to having more time to polish our web app and really make it what
Yeah,
it should
we
be.
have been little bit behind if everyone is watching. Yeah, that we
Yeah,
don't have feature parity with our iOS and Android app.
yeah,
But the good thing is once we start working on it, it will quickly be done because
yeah.
we don't need app approvals there.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's true. That's true. Awesome. All right. So I think let me toss this one question your way. Um, for all of you, you can answer them individually, this individually as well. So if you had to go to a new company, what is
Mhm.
the one thing that you would carry from Fold to that new team? Something that you've learned here or you do here? Again, alphabetical. Let's go alphabetical.
Alphabetically. Let's go alphabetically.
Uh, I
Please
think
leave something for me, Abhishek. Okay.
no,
Next time we'll do reverse alphabetical. So you'll go first.
I'm remembering the very first meeting or hands-on that we did, and then Nishant was talking about his vision about Fold, and one word that has stuck with me has always been care. So, like putting a lot of care in whatever thing that you're working on, be it design, you put a lot of care into designing something that's really exceptional. You put a lot of care in developing that feature, and again, once it's shipped, it's out in the public. You put a lot of care in terms of your support, providing value to the people who are using it, making sure that they're able to get things done because we might be aware of a certain feature, we might be able to look at it just because we're building it, and we are able to like quickly figure out something is figure out how something is being done, but they might not be as aware. So we have to put that care and thought and explaining with as much detail as possible about how certain things work, maybe attaching a screenshot or a screen recording about, hey, go here if you want to see certain data filtered in a certain way, maybe attach a screen recording along with your reply. So I think putting a lot of care into whatever is it that you're working on is something that I would take.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Right, Nishant.
Yeah, so if I'm joining a new team, I would just want to bring the current team with me because I don't know if I could work
Uh, yeah.
without them, or I can produce something
A
without
googly answer
them
to a
being
googly
there.
question, right?
Yeah. But yeah, Abhishek, I think took the you know gave a very good answer, which is care, of course,
Yeah.
that we put in our products. That has been the first priority with how we answer. And my answer is going to be sort of a subset of that. I'd want to be like how I'm in Fold with connected to the people who use them. So I'm in their Twitter
Nice.
DMs, I'm in their inboxes, I'm in Discord, wherever they are. I mean, if I meet them in public, I'll be there troubleshooting for them. Because
Nice.
it's design is, if you're making for people, it is about going into their heads and seeing what the world is like for them. What do they want from a product like this, right? Because of course, a product like this cannot be the center of your life, but how can it make your life a little better, a little easier? How can it save you 5 more minutes that you can spend with talking to your friend, or 10 more minutes that you can go out on a walk with your mom? So that is something that I would take, which is being in touch with people always, all the time, trying to
Nice.
understand the world. Yeah.
Nice. New definition of building in public, like literally sitting with people and building it there. Very nice.
Yeah.
Okay. And Vikas.
Yeah, I think I will build on like whatever Abhishek and Nishan said because you those are the core things you need. But one thing I learned, like if I'm creating a new company starting, that build a community first. The early
Yeah.
testers and you're like you
Yes.
listen to them, you talk with them, and yeah, don't just build and put it out there for everyone to
Yeah.
use. You build a community, you talk with them, you listen to them, and you take their feedback, you take
Yeah.
their critique. But yeah, always
Yeah.
have a community because they would be the most passionate people for
Yes.
you. They will test your even broken feature and
Yes.
will give you feedback.
Yeah,
So
Yeah.
and if someone from Discord is watching, we're so grateful to have you guys there.
definitely,
We are like around 5,000 people there, and
Wow.
like EPF testing or whatever testing, they are always very ready to help us out, and we can't be any more grateful than for anything else than to having people who really help us out and sort of celebrate us and tell about us to their friends
Amazing.
and family.
Wow. Let's maybe just expand on that one topic quickly, right? So
Mhm.
you talk a lot about how you are interacting and working with your community. You mentioned Twitter, Discord. What was the other third thing you mentioned was
Email inboxes. Yeah.
emails? Okay. So what does that? How does that work? How do you filter noise from like genuine feedback? And how do you make sure people are feeling that they've been heard?
Yeah. Well, we do respond to as many, you know, humanly possible like messages that we get, right? And sometimes, whether in a Discord community or somewhere else, people may feel that certain feature requests are not getting implemented. But what happens is that we're just like six, seven people, right? And we are building, and sometimes we
Yeah.
have to prioritize things like certain things for marketing or certain things for you know other things that may not directly add to the feature request. So that is why there's a lag there. But one thing that I have found out with interacting with people is that anyone who's been, let's say, requesting a bug fix or a feature request, as soon as they get to hear from a person, even if it is like, hey, this is not a priority right now, we'll get to it later. Or, that, this is something that we're working on, or this is
Hmm.
something that we don't plan to pick up on. As soon as
Hmm.
they hear back from a person, they just very much calm down. Like not in the sense that they're angry, but in the sense
Yeah.
that their urgency doesn't like sort of push them to keep talking or try to change our ways and like, no, you should do this first. As soon as they hear, they are like, yeah, great, you guys are doing great, and you guys are building awesome, and I'm sure in the future looking to this. So the one thing is that we try to respond, even if it's like a sentence or one and a
Mm-hmm.
half sentences. We try to respond to everything possible that comes our way. And it doesn't, like, sometimes we have tried, so all of us try to do support requests at
Yeah.
different places. So any time, like off time, where I get a notification on my phone,
Hmm.
or sometimes between work, if there is a message on Discord, we just reply to it right away, rather than collecting it
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
doing it in one day, because there it will just take like 10 seconds or 20 seconds, and then sort of
Correct.
it keeps you in touch with people. Yeah.
I like that. I can already imagine some AI company saying, "Hey, we can do it through AI for you." But I love that you're doing it by hand.
Yeah,
You're,
so
you're actually being connected.
AI has issues, and we've also, like, in our tweets and our copies, we have tried, because we don't use AI for our
Correct.
copies, and we
Correct.
don't want people to feel like they are reading AI generated stuff. So
Yeah.
sometimes we just push in typos deliberately,
Oh,
so that
wow.
or grammatical errors, right?
Yeah. I mean, if you've
So
accidentally
yeah,
typed it, why make the effort to go back and change it? I like it.
yeah.
I
I like
think,
So
it.
yeah, AI has, like, that's one good thing about AI is that you can be now, you don't have to worry about typos. Like, you can feel happy
I
that
yeah,
know.
you made a typo.
yeah.
I
And
know.
with the AI generated copy, it's like it will be very paragraphs on paragraphs. But the thing is that I feel that AI writing hasn't gotten to a place where it touches a person in a
Yeah.
sort of way, right? Like a simple text from your friend, which is just see you later, which is like see letter you later, makes more sense than an AI's paragraph that, hey, I am caught up
Yeah.
right now doing this. Like, people don't read it with their brain; they just read that shit with their eyes.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. That makes
but yeah,
sense.
no, we are getting closer very soon. We'll have that too, but as long
But
as
I
we can
love that.
enjoy the human flaws, yeah.
Yeah.
But I think for support request, Akash, Nishant, and Arpit are our like first responder, I would say.
Yeah.
Mm,
Like everyone else in the team also tries to keep an eye on reply,
Hmm.
but
nice.
Akash, Nishant, Arpit, they are like the first. Like the message is
Yeah.
there, they would be there.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Nice. On this topic of AI, I also want to know if you folks are using AI or like in interesting ways across your product, whether it's like engineering part, design part, support, community.
I think we
So,
invented
yeah.
it in one place where we are using foundation models to generate a summary of your credit scores, and
Mhm.
just we're just using it very. We're not using it throughout the app. I guess I would say we're just
Yeah.
experimenting with this one place right now and see how it works.
And no, during development, like
That's
while making the app,
mm,
I think that's what Pooja meant.
Oh, okay, right.
Okay,
Yeah.
for
I mean,
development.
all the time then.
Yeah.
I
But
don't
are
think
there
it
like
can
interesting
be.
some interesting ways you folks are using? Like I use uh, an app called Lindy. It's used to and I use it to summarize like App Store reviews and all of that, and it
Okay.
puts it directly on the Slack, so I know
Oh,
this week
wow.
how people are feeling.
Okay.
About our app, something like that. Interesting, unique ways you are using AI in your workflows.
I think that would be more toward, I think, product. For engineering, it's like a quite straightforward work. But I think it has helped a lot in terms of planning. Like once we say, okay, we
Hmm.
have to build a EPF, you can discuss with team, do a meeting, or you can talk with AI for a 2 minute, give it enough context and come up with a plan, and then you share a plan for review with the
Mhm.
team, which
Yeah.
makes everything a little bit faster. And you are good to go within few hours instead of having two
Yeah.
back-to-back calls.
Yeah. In interesting ways in design, I have tried ChatGPT's, I think the DALI model to generate illustrations, but
Mm.
it's not been very good. I would like it to be very good, but it's just been asking it to first it generates something, then you'll be like, okay, change this little thing, and then it'll go ahead and change the whole image. And then you're like, hey, don't change the whole image, change this little thing only, and then it will go ahead and generate some third thing, right? So it hasn't worked
Yeah.
for me. Some ways it has worked, like for a screen that is very complex, like the information architecture of it is you cannot understand. On one or two occasions, I have pasted that screen, like copied that screen from Figma as a PNG and pasted it in ChatGPT and asked for that. How would you restructure it for this things? 80% of the time, it just spits out absolute bullshit. But on one or two occasions, it has actually helped me make the screen. Like when I'm stuck thinking like, how will I go around doing that? So I think if any designer is stuck, they should just take that chance, just push it out there, and it will sort of regenerate that screen with whatever training data that it has, and it's sometimes out of randomness workout. So that is how we're using. Then again, in Figma, I use it a lot to rename the layers. A very, very good use case.
Nice.
Earlier, it was very difficult. Uh, yeah, I think that's really all. One other thing, like in copy, we try to like after writing, when it's very verbose, we say how can you fit it in fewer
Yeah.
words, which is a very straightforward use case. So if you're trying to do that, just say that, hey, can you fit it in fewer words without killing its soul? So it will
Yeah.
not ruin the tone, but it will sort of sometimes replace bigger words with smaller words or certain phrases with words. So that's how we're using it right now. But it
That's
has a lot
nice.
of potential. Yeah.
I've
Yeah,
been using the word essence, but I think I'm going to use the word soul from now
I'm going
on.
to
Ah,
ask you that part as well.
yeah. Try that. Let's see if that was yeah.
Fun.
Very cool.
Yeah, I have a feeling if you ask ChatGPT, it will just type something and then suddenly redact, okay, I cannot answer that, killing about
Yeah.
anything. Yeah.
So yeah, one other thing that I was trying to do was sort of make emoji like things for you know, let's say Vishal Megamart or McDonald's sort of,
Hmm.
emoji like illustrations. It will be very hard to do by hand. Will take hours and hours. So something that I did, I went to Perplexity and asked it to write a prompt that would do that. So, and then I pasted that prompt in OpenAI, and surprisingly, that prompt was so well structured with pointwise, with some sort of JSON data that it ended up producing consistent images on each, retry,
Very cool.
right? So like I also tried with Indian celebrities like A.R. Rahman, or Sachin Tendulkar, or Lata Mangeshkar and all of that, and it produced a
Hmm.
very similar styled image. I think it's all about prompt engineering, and it's good that you can prompt in AI to write a prompt. So that works really well
Yeah.
if you're ever stuck. Yeah.
I've started doing that now. That is the best hack for
Yes.
using AIs.
Yeah.
Yeah, one ways I actually do is I use Gemini or Claude to create a PRD
Mhm.
for Lovable, and then
Yeah.
I yeah,
Yep.
Yeah.
and then Lovable generates like a
Yeah,
nice
well,
PRD.
that's
Yeah.
very nice.
Yeah.
I hope with all of this, I think, handmade things get people crave for that eventually because, AI has been everywhere. AI is sending emails, AI is replying to emails. I think the Google's new feature where you can reply to your friend
Hmm.
using a button. So you can reply with AI and they can also use the same button. So in
Yeah.
the end, just
Yeah.
computers talking. At some point, we'll have to put in the range, but let's
That's
push it.
exactly what
I
I'm
guess that's
thinking.
what the technology is
Yeah.
doing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Precisely.
But I think
But yeah,
like
I think. Hmm?
It's a good in a sense like you can do majority of work with AI, the boilerplate, and
Yeah.
then you can focus on the
Yeah.
essence. Like
Yeah.
even like in code, I don't think like maybe we are not. I am not a very great prompt engineer, but sometimes it makes
Hmm.
mistake and it does it
Yeah.
often at the core level. But the point is, it can does like your boilerplate thing, and once
Yeah.
that is, you can just focus on the core issue and just work on
Yeah.
that, and it's done. So you are not worried about typing 10 files and adding the boilerplate. You let it do everything, and then you just go and do the core work.
For sure.
Yeah.
I mean, the value of handmade things goes up, and the benchmark as
Yeah.
well. The
And you
baseline
also
goes
have
up,
time
right?
to do handmade work, like because you don't have to worry about other things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure. Like,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, how I also like to think about AI is it stops you from making excuses. If you really want to do something, you have all the tools available,
Yeah.
and you literally cannot make excuses. You have to
Yeah.
do it. And
Actually, you
so
can I would add you can make excuses now much easier because you can just say AI told me to do it, and like
that's
this
when
code
you
is like I did not write it. It's like AI
actually
advanced.
AI made me do something. It made me go back to learning the fundamentals of. I had to go back and understand the fundamentals because I was trying to do vibe coding, did not work. Things would break
Yeah.
down a lot. So I
Yes.
was like,
Yes.
okay, let me just learn how to code myself, and
Yeah.
then maybe I'll be better at it. So
Yeah, I
yeah,
think it's a great technology. I think it's very much a part of my life now and a part of so many people's lives. Like my calories are tracked by ChatGPT's project. My books are tracked. My workouts are tracked. Everything is tracked. I hope they don't turn out to be evil, but this is like a good technology that has come out in a long time that has the potential to be very good for humanity. And
Hmm.
AI, personally, I believe will have a huge impact on education and finance, and so something's very exciting for us going forward.
yeah.
Which are your favorite platforms, respectively, and are you paying for any of them?
Well, I
AI
just used
platforms.
the Chat GPT Plus thing.
Okay.
I got perplexity with that Airtel thing, but
Yeah.
I don't know, man. I think going forward, if you're building an AI chatbot, it has to be some sort of personality that connects with people. I think that's the only way that they're not going to give you up. I
Hmm.
found
Hmm.
perplexity quite robotic, or maybe because I haven't spent a lot of time with it. But
Could be.
yeah,
Yeah. But I think ChatGPT, it was like how Google is for search, right? ChatGPT just became the go-to
yeah, I think
AI thing that you just use.
ChatGPT also reduced Google usage by a lot. I think they're not.
For sure.
Yeah.
How about you, Vikas and Abhishek?
Yeah, I think I use Cloud Code
Claude.
for yeah.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I think it's the
For
I
your
same.
also
for
use
coding needs.
Cursor, so both
Hmm.
are nice, and sometimes you can just pit them against each other. Ki, okay, fix this. This is what ch- Cursor gave, and they're
Wow.
like, yeah, that is wrong. But
Yeah.
yeah,
Does
I think
that
Cloud
does that
Code is
make them
good. Yeah,
does that make them do the job better when you say, "Hey, cursor did this"?
no,
Like,
no,
oh
no,
my
they
god,
get
I
just
need to
more
give my
confused. Yeah,
put additional servers behind this. We need to think.
I think Claude
Nice.
now has a Figma now has an MCP server, so you can just point Claude to your current selection in Figma, and it
Huh.
can sort of give you a boilerplate code. It can read all your design tokens. It can refer them to your design system in your code
Right.
itself, and then it can like generate some code which is slightly helpful. So I've always been
Right.
using Claude Code.
And does it flow the other direction as well? So you got your designs to code, but does it do anything in the reverse? Can it generate designs based on
um,
uh, just the MCP server? I'm
yeah.
So it
asking,
can
allowed
only
to do
read
that?
stuff right now. So it
Okay.
can read, it generates an images, it reads it, it
Hmm.
reads all your styles, your variables, and it's just sort of able to refer and infer those things out in code as well.
Very cool.
I don't think it can go the other
I'm
way.
gonna explore
Yeah.
that. Like I kept hearing about it's coming, and now it's here. So I think I need to
Not sure if
dive
it's
into
out
it.
of the beta yet, but in Figma beta, it's definitely there.
Yeah, I've seen a lot more posts about it. So I'm gonna check it out. Yeah.
Awesome. We have some questions from people that we would love to take. So let me start with the first one. It's what's the surprising behavior you have noticed with people tracking their expenses?
Surprising behavior. Yeah. So I'll tell you this one thing, okay? Many a times we've gotten the feedback that who would want to track their expenses? Like people don't care about tracking, right? And the kind of support request we've got is that hey, I have added my FD. Why is the amount shown in Fold different from what it's shown in my bank account by 3 rupees? So people who care a lot about it. They want it to be as accurate as possible, right? And that's something that accuracy and coverage is what we are working towards to have more data source points. ETF, PPF, gold, US stocks, all of that is where we are progressing, and also how to make them more accurate. And that AI is coming in handy. We are building our own algorithms to categorize expenses, etc. Other interesting behaviors, I think, if Abhishek or anyone or Vikas,
Yeah.
you have noticed, then
I
there
think
might be
one
try to
thing
think of
which
something.
I notice is like people just don't want to like track transaction. They want to track everything under the sun. Like
Yeah.
they want to know how their land is appreciating, how their flat is appreciating. They want to track everything. They want like full big
Hmm.
picture. So it's not about tracking less. They want to us to add more things they can track.
Yeah. Yeah.
Nice. Do you have another question, Pooja? Otherwise, I have
Go for it.
questions about the app.
No, go for it.
So I think during when we were prepping for this, we discussed an upcoming feature called net worth. I think that you guys, or it's
Oh
already
yeah.
in there. I think.
It's in there. It's in there.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Do you want to talk a little bit about that? Because I'd love for
Yeah.
people to hear and for
Yeah.
myself to learn.
So net worth is just, summation of all your assets. We also show your loans, your credit card running debts. Since we track your credit cards in real time, you can see your net worth in real time, your
Hmm.
bank accounts. It's just a summation, and we try to, because this is a sensitive thing. People may not want to look at it all the time, so we have designed it in a way that it can be collapsed. You can put it away. You cannot look at it at all if you want. So we have taken those considerations, and the default position of it is at the top of the screen, and we have seen like people keep it there, and people sort of keep it collapsed. They only see the change that's happening month to month, and so which is pretty nice to see. Like my
Hmm.
first thought behind that was that people will not want to look at it. They'll just push it behind and maybe scroll to it once a week or once a month. But
Hmm.
people keep an eye on it on a regular basis at like the topmost widget. And we also gave everyone who sets up that widget a sort of a ticker name. Like for example, for NVIDIA, you'll have NVDA,
Right,
whatever,
right.
right? So everyone has their. It's not unique, of course, like, but everyone has their four-letter sort of a ticker symbol that maybe if they want in the future could be used from some social finance thing.
Nice, nice. And
Yeah.
is that something people can customize, or it's generated by
Mm,
the app right now?
It is generated by the app right now,
Okay,
but since
okay.
it's not unique, we may in the future give the ability to customize it too.
And I
Yeah.
remember you were mentioning that when you implemented this, people were seeing some negative net worth,
Yeah.
and yeah, what was that
Yeah,
about?
so after we added net worth, we also added, it is going live in Android this coming week, but it's already live
Okay.
on iOS, where
Uh-huh.
people can, one of the major requests were people wanted to track their loans. And the way loans were shown in all of the apps, other apps, was very much, it was jargonish. Major details were missing. So we had to put it in a way which is easy to see. Like if you have taken a 10 lakhs loan, this is your principal, and the total amount that you'll be paying is 15 lakhs. So people can see that and sort of plan their prepayment, etc. And so as loans get factored into the net worth, what happens is that it drops sharply because sometimes people have more loans than their current running net worth, right? So people started seeing negative net worths and they wanted to know, how can I don't want to see this, what can I do? We all have
Yeah.
all that mechanisms in the app. One thing we had to do was we had to put a screen where someone has a loan. As soon as they set their net worth, we say that, hey, brace for impact. Your net worth might go down after this, but here's how you can exclude it and not see it. So that
Hmm.
is something that we added. Yeah.
Wow, wow. And I do remember we joked about having Ambani using your app and seeing how his net worth shows up.
Yeah.
And you mentioned an interesting anecdote. So what's like a gigantic number you've seen in your app when you were building
Well,
this?
yeah, I think we have seen during demos when VCs or other people have connected their accounts,
Yeah.
and their networks are in tens of crores. So we are like, the whole UI sort of broke because we never sort of thought about that. So we had to come
Yeah.
back and quickly fix everything so that even larger numbers are properly visible in the app.
Wow. That must have been funny. Yeah.
I think for Ambani, we'll have to enable that landscape mode.
Yeah. But I think Ambari would have more loans. I don't know.
Yeah, precisely. Completely. It'll be like the Google Maps dark red, right? It'll just be.
Yeah.
Yeah, I hear you. Awesome, awesome. And I think so, Pooja, I see an interesting question from you, but I do want to touch upon quickly the accessibility side of things because I hear Vikas, you're a great accessibility buff. I am really passionate about it. So, in terms of accessibility, really like helping people with disabilities, what are some interesting things that Fold is doing? Have you heard someone come back to you and say, you know what, this is amazing, thank you for doing this? Would love to know that.
Yeah, I think when I joined Fold, before that I was in HackerRank where I got more into accessibility. And when I joined Fold, so first thing we discussed with Akash and Nishant, ki, yeah, I want to keep our apps accessible and make it a primary focus and not an afterthought. And Akash, Nishant were onboarded. Ki, yeah, that's obviously good to know. We'll do
Amazing.
that obviously. So we have been doing that, and whenever we build our iOS app and Android app and web app, and even in our copy we try to focus on all these things where things should be easy to understand, and people with different disabilities should be able to use our apps. And we have gotten some feedbacks
Yeah.
that I think sometimes back we got an
Yeah.
email that one of our users father was visually impaired and he was using
Yes.
our app,
Yeah.
and he was able to properly use it and he was happy with it. Keep it up. So yeah,
Yeah.
so
Wow.
that's always good to hear.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So another feedback we've got is that so yeah. So I mean, the feedback we got is that for a person who is visually impaired, it is very difficult to even check the balance or make a transaction because you have to put in so many OTPs and pins. And if you go and try to log in into a bank account, that's a whole other story of username, password, captcha, profile password, your net worth, name of your
Yeah.
firstborn. Yeah, right. So, and
Yeah.
it was easy and fold because we have tried to make it as much compatible with screen readers as possible, so that
Amazing.
we can read it. And another feedback that we also got was, so we allow people to monitor bank accounts of their loved ones by their consent. So,
Oh,
for
wow.
example, if you have aged parents or siblings who are not that aware, and if
Yeah.
something suspicious happens in their account, you can actually look at those transactions without having to go and check. So one feedback we got was one of our users grandparents, to check their balance, they had to go to an ATM with an ATM card and do all
Wow.
that, right? Because they had a very
Yeah.
simple numpad phone. So this
Yeah.
person was able to connect the bank accounts, and whenever they needed to know the balance, they could just call him, or he could just tell them their balance. So these are very simple use cases
Nice.
that
Nice.
came up, and yeah.
I love that. Fold is connecting families now.
Yeah.
Loving that.
Well, I hope that's what it's doing.
Very nice.
And
Very
yeah,
nice.
as Nishant said earlier, we want to make finance simple for everyone. So that includes everyone and not just
Yeah.
people who can use phone with
Yes.
regular, right? So it
I
includes
love that.
everyone, even who can't use phone in the conventional way.
Yeah.
Wow. Love that philosophy. Amazing. All right, Pooja, to your question then.
Yeah, I'll quickly cover a few more questions from people that have submitted. So I think we briefly touched on this previously, but like, what's one non-negotiable design principle that you make sure is followed across creative verticals?
Um, I think it's going to be about the language that we use. Does that cover it? The copy that we use, it has to be on par. It has to be properly vetted. It just cannot be written and just let's just put it out there. It has to go through several rounds of discussions, several different iterations that has to go through. Yeah. And the one thing, it's a very very basic thing, is just us, that we don't use gradients anywhere in the app or in our creative verticals. That's and typography should be, the fonts that we use clear. Yeah.
Is there a guideline for the typography, for example, that you use? Because
Right now, we don't have like properly set guidelines like this is supposed to go on a billboard or this is supposed to
mm,
go on a business card, etc. We do use certain fonts that we stick with. We use GT Wallshine and we use SF Rounded by Apple, and we stick with them as much as possible through all the communication. in the app or social media, wherever.
Yeah. I have a very interesting story to share here,
Yeah.
and why I asked about typography. So I was building this healthcare product previously, like few years ago, and we were using this font called IBM Plexans,
Uh-huh.
and I was like, why are we using this? It's like it's too. We can do better.
Mhm.
Let's find a better font for our product. It's like too looks too technical overall.
Mhm.
Um,
It
then
does.
it was my responsibility to find a better
Okay.
type of font for the product, and then I go around and I filter, because it's a healthcare product. You cannot use
Yeah.
letters like the I and L should not look similar, the
Yes.
O and
Yes.
zero
Correct.
cannot look the same. So you look at these points, the symbol should be consistent. It should be available in multiple like languages,
Yeah.
the font that you're using. And by the end of it, because I started with like 100 font and I filtered it down, and we ended up with IBM Plexans. It fitted all the
Okay.
criteria.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, maybe that's why we actually use.
Oh,
It
there's a
is
reason
funny
behind
because
it.
yeah, because the journey you described, Pooja, I also landed on IBM Plex because of that.
Mhm.
Hmm.
But then you're right, it's not the most aesthetic typeface. It's very like
Yeah,
straight and like, hey, this I mean business, right? It literally
Yeah.
comes from IBM, right? So it is
Mhm.
that.
yeah. But then what
Uh,
we did was to make the
yeah.
icon a little more playful, the illustration a bit different,
Yeah.
and then we sort of
Hmm.
balanced it with that.
Mhm.
But it
That's
was just this
interesting.
whole journey of rediscovering why
Yeah.
this font is
Yeah.
used for our
Yeah.
product. Yeah, so
Wow.
I'm
Yes.
assuming for fintech also you have to take care of this kind of nuances where people
Yeah.
don't misread something, or it should be clear to them.
Yeah. So, uh, yeah, the first principle when you're designing the app was that the numbers should not be a secondary citizen in the app. So if
Yeah.
you see in the app, the numbers just pop out, not by color or by shadows or anything, just because they're big. They contrast with the rest of the content around them. And
Hmm.
even if you like blur the screen or blur your vision, you will always have the numbers standing out, right? Because we didn't want early on that people should come in our app and stay there and sort of hook them with different sort of things. We just wanted to get its job done and get out of the way. And that is why we made numbers very prominent. And that's why in the app also you'll see numbers being big.
Nice.
Yeah, and we got a
And
lot more. Sorry,
yeah,
go
yeah.
ahead.
And SF Flounder does a good job at that. It's warm. It looks
Hmm.
good when it's big. Its line height is proper. Yeah.
Yeah, I think we primarily use it for digits and numbers everywhere.
Yes.
I
Yeah.
don't really think we use it anywhere else at all.
Yeah. Yes.
Is that
Correct.
is that across iOS and Android? Like, are you allowed to use SF on
Yeah.
Android?
Yes. Yes. You can
Okay.
use it. We got to know about this with this app called Rainbow, and they have
Huh.
an Android app and they have an iOS app, and we're like, oh yeah, it's possible. So yeah, we
Okay.
figured like that. Yes.
Wow. All right. Go ahead,
We
Pooja. I think you had another
Yeah, yeah.
question.
No, so actually we got a lot more questions, but
Okay.
most of them are like customer support requests. And I think if you want me, I'll mail them to you.
Yeah. Sure. You can just read a few. I'll try to respond to them.
Oh, okay, sure. Like, why can't I add two different emails for linking two different credit cards?
Now you can. We just haven't gotten around shipping it. It is possible. We have made it possible, but
Nice.
we will get to it. We'll definitely get to it. We
Okay.
want credit cards like add-on cards, different emails, everything. It's possible. We just need more time and a few more people. That's all. Yeah.
The
Nice.
next one is, when will the SBI issue will get fixed? I know it's on SBI end, but is there any hope? Crying emoji.
There is hope. I think SBI has started working well before 2 p.m. now. So you could try that, and that's not. I'm not telling it.
Yeah.
Ironically, unironically, it works better before 2 p.m. So you can start doing
Wow.
that, and
So
it's a
after lunchtime,
big
they stop
bag.
working. Hmm.
Yeah, that's something that you said, not me.
Yeah.
So, but it
Interesting.
has gotten a lot better. It's an old bank, but
Yeah.
it's just having that thing to work, even let's say for a second a day, is a big thing. And it's such a wonderful thing that RBI was able to bring all the banks together and get
That's
everything
amazing.
to work. It's a very huge thing for the country too, because open banking has been tried in UK and a lot of other places. And finally, after UPI, we have account aggregator here, which is working so well, and it's beautiful. Yeah.
Yeah, I'll take one last question. It's not related to Fold, but like on a personal note, how do you because all of you have this eye for design, right? Very care about the craft, but like, how do you take or look for inspiration that comes from non-traditional sources? Example, like other than Mobin, or looking at Twitter, Pinterest, all of that.
Yeah. So I personally take a lot of inspiration from print. Like you can go to Church Street and visit Blossoms probably, and Blossoms has this huge stack of magazines that you can buy each for 25 rupees or 50 rupees. So just get a bunch of them, and there's a lot of design inspiration, print design inspiration that will be there. So a lot of recent things that we did, which is with the credit score thing, a lot of illustrations are based on like, oops, I logged it, are based on print. Like this is a print based thing, right?
Nice.
You won't have text like this. This is a print based, design choice. So print informs a lot of design choice and so.
Very cool.
Yeah, I think this was a pretty insightful conversation. I love the breadth that which we talked
Mhm.
about, from building a company to building a team from scratch, and then how you go on about building product. I love the emphasis on copy and design and
Mhm.
accessibility. So thank you all for joining us today.
Yeah, thank you for having us.
Yeah, any ending notes before we like conclude?
Yeah, thanks for having us. It was really nice. I think this is the first time we've went live and talked about what we've built. We're just getting started. It's a very young company. Properly, I think we've been March 2024 is when we went live for everyone. And our North Star is to make financial life simpler for everyone, as many lives as we can touch, every part of India, wherever, and it just feels good to have, the community on your side and people cheering for you. And, Pooja, you giving a platform for us to talk about it. And we've, like we said, we've always been very, very, close to community building, working with the community. And I think, things like these live streams and the events, other events that you do, give so much back to the city, right? In a way where it creates the ecosystem that is more healthy, it's more happening, and it just brings in so much more talent from across the country to this place, right? And yeah, so just thanks for doing that. Just thanks for doing all the events. I think we also did an event after Razor period at Cred, which I was not able to attend, and you are also expanding to different cities. So it's really warms our heart knowing that there are people out there doing these things. Yeah.
Awesome. Any interesting feature coming out, by the way, that you want to just drop before you drop?
Well, an interesting feature is that, well, right now we are focusing on get filling a lot of gaps that are there in the app because, as you iterate quickly, talk to a lot of people, what happens is that certain things are half finished or not fully done. And we are taking this time, this month, the next couple of months to finish everything. The other thing that we are excited about is that we've been trying to build our in-house LLMs of
Oh,
just
wow.
as financial LLMs which can
Nice.
answer questions for you. One thing we realized that a lot of young people, like I told you about those, students from Christ I met,
Yep.
and several of my friends who have just graduated college, they have a lot of questions about finances, and there is no one to answer, right? Even if you go and ask in Chat GPT, all it could do is answer not in your context, but give you a general answer, right? It doesn't know about what your mutual fund investments, what are your stock investment, how much FD you hold, which bank accounts do you have, etc. But what we are building is sort of has the context of everything about your finances. It is
Nice.
private, and it can really answer your questions that pertains to your life in a way, right? Like if you tell it like, hey, I'm going to buy a bike, it will very easily, like ChatGPT will tell you, hey, yes, here are the top 5 models that are selling in your budget. But what our app could do is that if you don't have an emergency fund, it could say, hey, you know what? First fill in your emergency fund, right? And if you have an emergency fund that is lying in a bank account, it could suggest that he put it in a FD or that is more secure, that will, increase it,
Hmm.
etc. So we really want to give that context to people because we found that people are at a certain stage very lost about their finances, and now earlier it was all scattered, now we have brought it all together, and now we just want to empower people so that finance
Amazing.
isn't something esoteric for someone who knows how to use Excel or the formulas or a keyboard. It is for everyone, and it is such an important thing, and everyone should have the power the ability to manage their own home.
Love it.
Yeah.
Looking forward to all of that.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, thank you everyone,
Yeah.
for taking out the time today. It was a lovely conversation. Thank you, Abhimanyu, for hosting this alongside me.
Yeah.
It was
Yeah.
super fun.
Yes.
Yeah.
And all of us are
Thank.
like cheering for Fold from the sidelines.
Yeah.
It's a
Thank you
great
so much.
collaboration. Yeah, we
Yeah.
love a
And yeah.
go for it.
And
Go for it.
yeah, I just wanted to thank everyone. You bring a great energy, to the
Oh, yay.
conversation. Just love having you here. Just love
Amazing.
having you. Yeah.
Amazing. Yeah. Looking forward to catching up whenever Pooja organizes the next
Yes.
in-person event.
Yes. Definitely, 100%.
Yeah,
And love meeting all of you passionate people building amazing things.
Yeah. Thank you. Likewise.
and thank you everyone from the audience that joined us today. Have a
Yeah.
lovely weekend. Thank you. Bye bye.
Yes.
All
Thank you,
right.
everyone. And all the support requests, you can just drop an email. I think while chatting, I got like 5 at my inbox open. So
Amazing.
yeah.
All right.
All right. Thank you so
Bye
much,
bye.
Have a
guys.
great weekend.
Bye.
Thank you, Pooja.
Yeah.